Again, welcome to Statistics with Microsoft Excel. This is our lecture 2-1. So in these lectures, we're going to learn how to use frequency distribution to organize our qualitative data or categorical data. In our next lectures, we're going to learn how to use the frequency distribution to organize, again, a quantitative data. Again, this course, we are using Microsoft Excel to cover all the statistics topics. So again, this is descriptive statistics using Microsoft Excel. So our main objective is to summarize our data for categorical variables. So again, we have a categorical data, and normally a categorical data use labels or names to identify categories of items. Example will be, we have colors, different colors of cars. So a red, blue, yellow will be a categorical data. A quantitative or numerical data is a values, let's say average salary of a computer scientist in New York State is $20,000 per year. And that's again quantitative. So again, we use the qualitative data or categorical data basically to identify categories of items, and it should be labels or names. Example, a name William is a categorical data. William age is 34 years, that is quantitative. So again, in these lectures, we're going to use the Excel, but before we do an example in Excel, how to again construct a frequency distribution, first I want us to go through the theory, and this will be a very short theory. So first, we have what is a frequency distribution, relative frequency distribution, and percent frequency distribution. So the term frequency means the total tally of some product or items or any entity. So for example, if I have 20 cars and 7 of the cars are yellow, I can say the frequency of yellow cars is again is 7, the total tally. Relative frequency will be the proportion, percentage. So I have yellow and blue cars. Let's say we have 10 cars again. Yellow is 7, blue is 3. The relative frequency for yellow will be 0.7 because the total cars are 10 and yellow are 7 and blue is red. And the relative frequency for blue will be 0.3. Now the percent will be, we are changing the decimal value to percent. So percent frequency distribution will be the relative frequency times 100. So for the yellow cars, it will be 0.7 times 100, which will give me 70%. For blue cars, it's 0.3, which is 3 divided by the total number of cars, 10. 3 is the number of blue cars we have, and the total cars we have is 10. So 3 by 10 will give me 0.3 times 100 will give me 30%, which will be the percent frequency distribution. So we have the definition here. We say a frequency distribution is a tabular summary of data showing the number. Again, the number is the frequency, total tally of observations in each of a several non-overlapping categories or classes. In qualitative data or categorical data, we use the term categories. Example, categories of different colors of cars. We have blue, yellow, green, brown, but classes will be quantitative data. So in salary, we can have a class from $10,000 to $20,000, and from 21 to 30,000, 31 to 40,000. So the categories in quantitative data is classes. So the objective is to provide insight about data that cannot be quickly obtained by looking only at the original data. So we use frequency distribution. The main goal is to summarize our data. So let's say I have over 1,000 cars and we have different colors. Now, if I want to know the number of yellow cars I have, I don't want to go through all the lists of the 1,000 cars, counting the yellows. That would be too long. It will take a lot of time. So in this case, I'm going to create a frequency table or distribution. And in this case, I will see our data in a tabular form. Yellow cars are 100, blue cars are 50. So I don't need to count no more, it's already done. And this is the lab work we are going to do in a few minutes time. So that's example here. Let's say we have a data set of different types of soft drink, Coca-Cola, Diet Coke, Pepsi, etc. And in this data, we can see that it's not organized. Here we have 20 purchases of soft drink. The first customer bought Coca-Cola, second Diet Coke, then Dr. Pepper, Pepsi. So now if I want to know how many Pepsi customers buy, I need to count them. And this may take a long time, especially here we have only 20 purchases. So imagine if we have 1,000 purchases, we don't want to count all this. So this is the goal again of using frequency distribution to summarize the data. So this is how it will look like. When we use the frequency distribution of this table, which we don't want to count the number of Pepsi, the number of Coke, this is how it will look. So we can look at Pepsi. Oh, the Pepsi is 9. We look at Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is 2. Diet Coke is 3. So this is the goal again of a frequency distribution, to organize our data. So again, we can use Excel, a formula known as COUNTIF function, to construct a frequency distribution. And here we can see first column A, we have different soft drink selections. Here the list can keep going all the way down. Here we say the rows should be 9 to 21 all the way down. So which means we still have the 20 customers. The first row is the label, soft drink selected, soft drink, and the frequency. So the 20 purchases start from 2 to 21. Now, next we are going to column C. Again, we can use column B, but in this case, we skip it for now. Column C, and we have all the possible type of drinks that we can, again, buy. The drinks that are available is all these drinks: Sprite, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, Diet Coke, and Coca-Cola. These are the drinks that is available. We construct this. Then the reason why, you can see we have a count. Count if means if it's a condition. So we may have all the values from A2 to A21. Again, these are called the cells, the boxes, and the name of the cells is always the column first and the row, the intersection of the column on the row. So we have A2 is Coca-Cola, A3 is Diet Coke, all the way to A21. And that's what we have here. Here we have the range from A2 to A21. We put the dollar sign here, which is called the absolute reference. So this will be absolute. So which means if we are copying this formula to other cells, the A2 will not change. A2 and A21 will be the same. Normally, if we have A2, if I copy it down to row 3, A2 will change to A3. If I copy it down to row 4, it will be A4. We don't want to change this because we are using the same list from A2 to A21. And we are going to count how many Coke, how many Pepsi, and that's what the conditions are here for. So let's see the first condition. We said count if. We are going to, if I use the term count, that means it's going to count everything. There's no any condition. The if here will give us a condition, and the condition will be the second value or the second reference here. So we have a range from A2 to A21, comma, then C2. This means count everything from A2 to A21 if whatever is in C2 is true. C2 is what? Coca-Cola. So this means the count if on row 2 will give us the number of Coca-Cola we have. Then Diet Coke is in C3. So we're still going to count from A2 to A21, but we need only C3. Then Dr. Pepper is in C4, the cell C4. So we say count if from A2 to A21, comma, if it's C4, Dr. Pepper. Then count if A2 to A21, if it's C5, which is Pepsi, and the rest. Then the last is we want to sum everything. So we sum D2 to D2 to D6. The sum is everything. It will give us the same number of items we have here, which is 21. The sum should give us 21. So this is how we construct, again, frequency distribution using qualitative data and the count if. So here again, I'm going to do a lab work in a few seconds. So this is the result. It gave us the count for Coke is 2, diet 3, 5, 9, 1. And as we said, the total should be 20 because we have 20 purchases from A2 to A21. So as we said, the relative frequency of a class is the fraction or proportion of the total number of data items belonging to a class. Again, this means it's percentage or proportion of any item within the class. So a relative frequency of a class will be frequency of that very class divided by the total. Lowercase n here means the sample size, the total items we have. So we will see examples soon. Again, percent frequency, as we said earlier, when you get your relative frequency multiplied by 100, then the value become percentage. So that's the percent frequency. We have 0.38. How do we get 0.38? We know that, let's go back to our result. We have Coca-Cola is 2. So the relative frequency, we can write the formula in column E, which will be D2. Again, we are in column D. So D2 divided by the total. The total is D7. So if I divide D2 by D7, I'll get the relative frequency. Then when I multiply the answer by 100, I'll get the percent frequency. And the same thing applies to Diet Coke. The number of items in that category, Diet Coke, is 3. So I will divide 3 by 20, and whatever answer I get will be the relative frequency. Always the total of the relative frequency will give you 1. So when we look at our table, we have 1. Then also percent, of course, will give us 100%. So we're also going to use the Excel to construct a relative frequency, as we said earlier, and also percent frequency distribution. So I'm going to do the hands-on in a few minutes. And when we finish, also, we're going to construct a bar chart. A bar chart also normally we use a chart also to organize our data, basically to display our data graphically. Sometimes we can see the pattern. So we can have an horizontal axis and also the vertical axis. Normally, the horizontal axis should be labels. If we are converting a frequency table with qualitative data to a bar chart, we know frequency table, the qualitative data will be labels. So the labels should be always horizontal. The relative frequency will be the vertical. So it will look something like this, what we just did. We have Coca-Cola. We can see all the labels are again horizontal. Then depends on the frequency. Again, the vertical is frequency. So whatever numbers we have, then that will give us the measurement of the bars. So again, this is the step we can use to construct, again, a bar chart. And also, first, before we construct a bar chart, we are going to create a frequency table distribution first. So normally to construct a bar chart, you select, we know a graph is graphical representation of data. So without a data, the graph will be empty. So first we need to select our data. So in this case, again, the selection of this cell can be any cell. C1 to D6, the reason why we are selecting C1 to D6, because that's where our data is located. So select wherever cells your data is. Then next we click on the Insert tab on the ribbon. Then we go to the chart groups. Then we click on the recommended charts. And then we select what chart. Here in this case, we need a bar chart. Again, we have so many different charts we'll go through right now. Then we click OK. After that, we should be able to see our chart. Now, when we get our chart, we can change the chart title. We can also have the chart legends, which describe the chart for us, or we can change the labels, the chart X and Y axis names, which we are going to do. So this is what we are going to do in a few seconds. So we have a data set already, which is a number of items purchases. And the items are soft drinks like Coke, Diet Coke, Pepsi, Sprite, etc. Then we have that data already. From that data, we are going to create our frequency distribution, as we can see it here. And also we create a pie chart. The goal here is just to organize our data. So by looking at this chart here, so wow, a lot of people bought Coca-Cola than Sprite, etc. So in this case, our data is 50. The purchases is 50. And Coca-Cola is 19, so that is the highest. And Diet, 8, etc. So let's go through. So this is the conclusion of the lectures. Now let's go through the lab work. So I'm going to select the file I'm going to use. This is a soft drink file. I'm going to open it. So you can see this is my data. And this data is not organized at all. We have, it depends. We may have Coke 19 times, entered 19 times. Everything depends on the purchases, number of purchases. For example, the first purchase was Coca-Cola, second was Diet Coke, then Pepsi, then Diet Coke, then Coca-Cola again, Coca-Cola. So we have all these data set and it's 50. Now, if I want to know how many Coca-Cola we sold, it means I have to count it. 1, 2, 3. This is what we don't want to do, especially if I sold more than 1,000 soft drinks. Well, I can't sit down here and counting all. So the best way to solve this is to organize this data using the frequency again table. So we're going to start again. So the first thing I'm going to do, what data I want. I have to select all my data that I need. So these are all the drinks from 2 to 51. So after we select it, finish, we are going to click on the Insert tab. Again, we select everything. So I'll click on the Insert. Then when I click on the Insert, we can see recommended pivot tables. This is a quicker way to create a frequency table. And the system will organize everything for you. So instead of using count if, again, when I finish with this, I'm going to use the count if also. So click on this. And then we click OK. You can see here the recommended pivot table showing that, okay, based on the data from 2 to 51, these are the items we have. This is the unique items. We have Coke. Coke is more than once, Diet, Dr. Pepper, Pepsi, and Sprite. And when we create a frequency table, this is the result. Coca-Cola was 19, Diet 18, etc. The grand total is 50. Yeah, that's correct. So I'll click OK. So now this is our solution, which is the frequency table. Here, we only have the label and not the frequency. So from here, we can find the relative frequency. Actually, the first thing I'm going to do here is to change the label. So I can call the first, again, it's up to you, any name you want. Here, I'm going to call it, the label should be soft drinks. Then the second column is frequency. And if you like, you can leave the total as grand total, or I'm going to use sum. I prefer sum. So you can change your labels, it's up to you. And also you can reduce the column width. So I double click on the column header to reduce it. Next, I need the relative frequency. So I'm going to type relative frequency. And I'm going to increase the column width. Also, we need, let's find the percent frequency also. So now relative frequency means the proportion of each category. So Coca-Cola, I'm going to click, anytime you are entering a formula in Excel, you start with the equal sign first. So equal, and I'll click on the cell B4. Or the best way, again, since this is, here we have a summary, again, frequency table. So it's not advisable to click on it, but rather enter B4, then divide by the total. The total should be B9. Again, row 9, B9, B9. And also I'm making the formula relative. So when I copy, again, this is the fill handle. I'll place my mouse pointer on it. If it changes to a black cross, drag it all the way down. I don't want to enter the formula all over again. So again, what happened here, you can see I have division by 0. The reason why, because as we said earlier, we have something called the absolute reference and relative reference. Here, we are not using no dollar sign in the values. So if I move down, it will change to B5, B10, one more step, B6, B11. It's okay, but the sum should be the same. We want to do B5 here by B10, or so this means I'll come here and then I'll press F4, the function F4, or you can also enter the dollar sign yourself. So if I want to, I'll enter the dollar sign in front of B and also in front of 10, $2 sign. Then I'll press enter. Now I'm going to copy the formula again. Oh, the formula, the dollar sign is gone. Should be B9, sorry. So B9, and make sure I press the equal. So I'll go back here, then I'll copy the formula now. And you can, and also when we find a sum, I can click on the auto sum here. That will give me the sum. It should be 1. Again, it's 1. So what we did is that since I want to maintain, I'm dividing each category frequency by the same sum. So I need to make the sum value as an absolute reference, which means when I copy the formula to other cells, you can see the B9 remains throughout. If it's referenced, it will change. But the goal is that if you like, you can enter the formula separately. But again, here we have only few categories. So imagine if I have, let's say 50 categories, I don't want to enter the formula 50 times the same. So the best way is to change the absolute, again, enter a dollar sign between the B and 9, $2 sign in front of B in front of 9. Or you just press the F, click anywhere in B9, then you click the F4 key on your keyboard, or you type the dollar sign. So again, this will be the conclusion of the frequency distribution. Now we want to find the percent. As we said, the percent frequency is just the C4 times 100 is percentage. And make sure we start with the equal sign. Always when you enter a formula in Excel, you start with the equal sign. And we should get 38%. Now, if I copy the formula all the way down, we should get 100%. No. Or again, we can just copy the formula from here, and that will give us 100%. Now, the next lab we're going to do is to create a bar chart. So first, I'll click on the insert. Then I'll go to the chart area and click on the recommended charts. You see here it's telling me that I don't have no data selected. Here I want to use only the frequency and the label, so I have to select this data. I don't need the sum. We just want to see the cut. Sum always is the total, so we know. So I'll select the chart again. And here by default they already select the column chart for me, but I can change it to bar chart vertically. But we need the column, we need the, and then that's it. We click OK. You can move the chart anywhere. And this is the chart title. If I like, I will change the name to frequency distribution or frequency table for soft drink. And also we can change the x-axis and y-axis. So again, that will be the conclusion of these lectures. So in these lectures, again, we learn how to use Microsoft Excel to create a frequency table using qualitative data and also a bar chart. So this bar chart, we can see Coca-Cola is the highest number, 19. Diet Coke. Pepsi is the next, which is 13, etc. So again, wish you the best and thank you.